Pearson from the Des Moines Register. Thanks for being with us. How raw is Will McDonald still, or maybe he's not? I don't know, but what's he still got to learn?
Randy, how you doing? Will's doing really great right now. Obviously, with a lot of just fine tuning fundamentals, he's getting an aspect of his game that he's going to need, probably being a starter now. Some of those things that he didn't see. So I think he's doing really well. I mean, I wouldn't put him in a raw category right now, but I think he's really sharpening his tools and know that he's going to be, a sought after guy out there on Saturdays. I mean, they're going to send guys to block, and they're not going to let him affect the game. So, he's working all of those things and getting better at those aspects.
What enabled him to lead the nation in sacks? Technique, overpowering people, both.
He's got a really good knack of rush passer. He's a natural rush to passer guy. That's what we saw in his high school video. He's really trying to, again, work some different things to be more an efficient pass rusher. I think after watching this video last year that he could do some things better at the point that can allow him to escape better versus the pass rush.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, Travis Hines from the Ames Tribune here. How are you?
How you doing, Travis?
I'm good, thanks. I think when you look at the depth chart, basically just by virtue of the team having so much back everywhere, you guys maybe lost more than any other position group with Latrell and Jaquan leaving, and depth has been a huge part, it seems like, of your guys' success. How are you guys equipped to deal with maybe a little bit more attrition than other position groups when?
Yeah,
and obviously some of that is just normal. In a normal year, it would be no big deal.
Sure. Yeah, Travis, you're going to get guys who graduate and leave our program. That's where your recruiting comes in, and you recruit guys like Corey Suttle, Blake Peterson, Cordarius Bailey is doing a great job. Tucker Robinson's doing awesome. We still have a class yet to be in here to see what those guys are all about. But for us, man, it's all about your opportunities. And as guys graduate, your opportunities are there. Now it's up to you to go grasp those things and build trust in myself and the other coaches on this staff. But, that's why you recruit guys, because you're going to graduating classes are, guys who in Latrell instance that goes on to somewhere else. But that's why you recruit guys. And that's why you have quality backups. And, I would say probably the thing that we probably have is getting more game experience for those guys I just mentioned. Tucker Robinson would be the guy who's most experienced coming back, but man, you still got Blake Peterson doing a great job, who's a young guy, redshirt sophomore, and Corey Suttle has all the tools to be a great pass rusher and good defensive lineman. He needs playing time, and they all need playing time.
What does spring look like for you guys as a position group so far?
I think, we went into this spring ball really trying to fix our areas in which we needed to improve, and that's basic stance and footwork, hand placement, playing lower and separation. We do those things over and over again until they become, what you want as far as the fundamental footwork. But just we had the opportunity here in January to look back, and took a close look at our group and see how we can get better. And those are the things that showed up. It's our fundamentals. It's our stance. It's our first couple steps. It's where we're placing our hands, playing lower, and those things like that. So it's been truly a valuable spring for us as far as just fundamental football.
Is that normally what spring is for you guys, is fundamentals, or is there an added emphasis on that this year?
Well, it's always that, but it is an added emphasis in there. I think we took an approach of the competition and the banging out of those guys who really We like to continue to get bigger, faster, stronger with our group, number one. But we don't want to deal with the soreness of contact and possibly nicks and injuries that can keep a guy from getting better in his development. So just the emphasis is on that bigger, faster, stronger, fundamental football. And at the end of the day, team, even opponent, you're going to fall back on those fundamentals. So we have to get those fundamentals areas better for those situations that we're going to be in the fall.
Thank you.
Sir.
Hey, Coach. Ben Visser from the Cedar Rapids Gazette here.
How you doing, Ben?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome.
Good. We just talked about a little bit the attrition, some of the attrition that you guys had. So what's it mean to get a guy like Eni Wazirike back?
Well, number one, it gives us some leadership in the room. That's number one. He's coming out on fire, like he's really focused. His competing in practice is very high. And I think really for those incoming guys who have not been around a guy like that, man, he's going to have great value in the summer and fall when those young guys get here. We got those 4 D linemen coming in here, really 3 with Howard Brown being here. And he's the other guy that I want to mention that's doing incredible. But he's just a guy that I think that, man, gives you a great example of what 5 and 6 years look like as a senior. And some of our guys don't know how to act, don't know how to practice. He's been that for us in our room and out there on the practice field. And obviously, getting an opportunity to come back and fix the things that he's got to fix will pay off for him at the end of the season.
How have you seen him grow and develop as a leader over these last couple of years, and how much are you leaning on him to be that leader of the room?
We lean on him a lot, obviously, being that, man, all the opportunities and reps he's had and game experience. I think when those game weeks come, in the fall, that guy being over there and studying film during the day and bringing young guys with him was going to pay off. He's gonna go the extra mile in his preparation and those things and preparing for a team. I think that's going to be valuable for him. We lean on him a lot, but man, we still got Zach Peterson. Zach is doing great. Obviously, we're working on him. He's more of an attitude and effort guy. He's not going to say a whole lot, but we're pushing him to be more vocal in those situations. Will McDonald's done a great job already jumping in those roles. We got Isaiah Lee, who would be now a veteran guy, and he is doing an awesome job too with this leadership.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Coach, it's Bill with Cyclone Report here on Rivals. Got a couple questions. First off, you already mentioned the Latrell moving on. Also, Josh Bailey inside is elsewhere. What have you seen from J.R. Singleton this spring? Guy that got a little bit of work last year, but going to be an important factor, I think.
Oh, there's no question about that, Bill. I think he's doing everything that you would want every guy in your room to do. Man, we have to kick him out of this hallway. He's in our offices. He's around studying the game and want to get better. He will be an incredible football player for us. He comes from a great home. He comes from a great football program. He would be a key for us this next season, obviously. His development, just with having reps and opportunities to go get better and to practice, he's going to do well, and he's doing a great job, man. It's incredible.
And then you mentioned Howard Brown, just how well he's looked in the spring. Interested, obviously he got a lot of time at quarterback, more so than D tackle in high school, but now that he's just in one spot, just working out on defense, how's that looking so far?
Well, I tell you what, Howard is a sponge right now. And I think as we start ground zero with our fundamentals, it's a great opportunity for him to be here. So his decision to leave high school early and to be here now in January is going to pay off during the summer and fall for all of us. Like I said, he's soaking in the technique. He really didn't have that foundation of playing defensive line. So everything he's getting right now is new. And that being said, he's taking all of that in and every day applying those tools and getting better and better and better with every practice.
And he didn't have a whole lot of tape on defense. Is there something you're seeing in him so far that surprises you, or maybe something that didn't even show up on film in high school?
Well, the one thing we saw was a really big kid. You know, Howard probably right now, I think is, God, he would be close to 330 right now. And he's a big man that can move well. Obviously, we saw that with his ability to play quarterback. And a guy that big over the center of the ball, we're really hoping that can create issues for offense, for centers. And that's what we saw, and that's what he's showing out here in spring. Just his ability to be quick, powerful, and explosive for a guy that's 330 pounds. He's doing a great job.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, Matt Bellinson from the Iowa State Daily here. Just curious, going back to Will for a second, I'm just curious, what have the conversations been like with him in terms of, like you mentioned, he's going to probably need to take that next step into becoming, a vocal part of a leadership, a vocal part of the leadership in that room. He's going to become the focal point of opposing, offensive lines to try and stop him. Just curious, what's going to be the message that you have for him, especially, I think someone that, he had 10.5 sacks last year. I feel like he's kind of flown under the radar, just given the fact that Jaquan Bailey, was in that room. I'm just curious, what's going to be the message to him now that he has to enter in that role?
Well, I think the number one is the weight room and nutrition, which he's doing an incredible job. Got his weight up really to 240, working to be 245 pounds. And I think that's the main aspect, that the weight room and nutrition and preparing his body to take on more reps. He's now got to be the top rep guy during the game, and which will be different for him, obviously, but that's what we're talking about. And then in really different ways for him when teams are sending guys chip blocks, putting tight ends on them, those type of things where they're not going to allow him to be singled up on a pass rush. Now, how you're going to be effective when you got a chip block or a tight end and you got two guys blocking you versus one. So we're preparing him really, I guess you can say, for the worst, and pouring that into him now and seeing if he can handle that. That's the main thing.
What have you seen from Isaiah Lee this spring?
Well, I think Isaiah Lee is doing great. The first thing we're talking about is he's a powerful guy. And we're trying to build more explosion out of him so he can be that kind of guy that would, in my opinion, the Ray Lima who we had, who was a guy who was always a vertical guy in the backfield. Isaiah Lee, J.R. Singleton, Howard Brown, those guys, sometimes even Eli Rasheed, the same thing. Man, play vertical, play fast. That's what those guys are doing in all the practices right now.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go through the recruiting of Will McDonald? I mean, I know he was a very good basketball player also in high school, and he got a late jump on football comparatively. What was the recruiting like with him, Eli?
Well, I'd give credit to our recruiting department that go out and they get this video and they go through this video, every day for hours and hours looking to find a gem like Will McDonald. Will's high school program, I would say, he didn't receive the coaching or didn't have the coaching that he needed at that time. So we just saw a big, long, athletic guy who can run around and did it very well. We knew at that point, man, we better try to get this guy before everybody else find out who Will McDonald is get him committed and get him locked into the Cyclones. And after we got him committed, man, I'm telling you, it's everybody. Thank God he's not a real big social media guy and that kind of thing. But everybody, after we had him signed and started to watch his senior season, they came in the Wisconsins, the Baylors, and many programs in our teams in our conference came after him. So I would give the credit, number one, to our recruiting office, who, did a great job watching the video and seeing a really athletic guy. And then as I started to watch basketball practice and see the athletic ability and the violence that he play even with basketball, then you talk about his track and field and throwing the disc for the first time and becoming a state champion at the disc the first time he picks it up and throws it. So all of those things equal, man, that you have a really good athletic guy. I think the one thing that people don't know about Will McDonald, he's going to try to outwork everybody on the field. He wants to leave the field the hardest working guy out there. And that kind of thing, with that kind of athletic ability and that kind of work ethic, man, I'm not surprised what's going on with Will McDonald in college football.
Was there some talk about him going into the Army? Did you hear that story?
God, I would be worried if he would. I mean, in the Army.
I don't mean now, but I meant out of high school.
No. I mean, I'm sure he had no. Now, when Will was coming out of high school, now he couldn't tell you the difference between, like, he's a little bit better now, but he couldn't tell you the difference between Alabama and Iowa State. So he was that kind of green guy. He just wanted to go play athlete, like sports, basketball, whatever he can do. He enjoyed it. That's the kind of guy he is. But I did not hear the Army deal. That one's a little bit, I mean, I'm sure he would be great if he went into the Army, but
And I just read a story in one of the Wisconsin papers back when he maybe was a sophomore in high school. He says, I'm going to go into the Army. So obviously that he's changed his mind, and good for Iowa State that he did.
If you know Will McDonald, man, you're not surprised with some of the things that pops in his mind that comes out of his mouth. So yeah, it's Will. We say that it's Will being Will.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to know him a little bit better. Thank you, Eli.
Thank you.
That's all we have for you, Coach. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you guys, man. Have a great day now. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.